information about a developing system in the tropics. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at the path of this potential tropical cyclone. And we're paying attention, Elizabeth, because this could impact North Carolina.
It could. We've been talking about this for the last several days. We've been watching the computer models. They're coming into better agreement on where this is headed. And so at 11 o'clock, the National Hurricane Center issued a potential tropical cyclone advisory, started issuing the advisories. This is going to be number 4 of the season. It's potential because it doesn't have all of the elements of a tropical cyclone yet. It needs a closed circulation, and that's what the Hurricane Center is waiting on. But what they do in these situations where it looks like it could affect land, especially in the United States, they go ahead and give it that potential name so that people can go ahead and prepare, and they can go ahead and issue some advisories for that. So it looks like it'll be just off the coast of Tampa by 8 a.m. on Sunday morning with 50-mile-per-hour winds. It crosses Florida and moves back into the Atlantic. And by 8 a.m. on Tuesday, it's sitting near Charleston at 45-mile-per-hour winds, and then sitting very near Wilmington at 8 a.m. on Wednesday with 60-mile-per-hour winds. Again, 74-mile-per-hour winds would make it a hurricane. So here's what we know. As early as Monday morning on the coast, we could start to see some tropical storm force winds. The tropical storm itself would be near Wilmington by Wednesday, as I just showed you, at 60-mile-per-hour winds. Along the coast, flooding, wind damage potentially, and certainly a lot of erosion. Coming up, I'm going to talk more about where the advisories are right now and more of the impacts for our coast. I'll show you how much rain we could see coming up. We have our heat advisory that's in effect now for temperatures up to 110. We take a look at our forecast, could be up to 111, 112 in the Triangle, 111 in Fayetteville, 107 in Clinton. We're going to talk more about how that's going to feel and our potential for strong thunderstorms into this weekend coming up.
What a mess with a lot of that water there. We have had our share of rain. Now we're having our share of heat and some disturbances in the tropics.
Yeah, we have yet to have a tropical system affect North Carolina this season, and this could be the one. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is watching this very closely.
It's certainly the closest that we've come so far. There's still some time as this system develops into an actual tropical storm, and at that point the models will be able to have a better idea of exactly where it's going. But because it looks like it could begin to affect Florida over the weekend, the Hurricane Center went ahead and is calling it a potential tropical cyclone. That way they can go ahead and issue watches, warnings, advisories. In case you're just joining us, we're going to touch on this right now, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the heat. We'll get into a lot more detail about the system in just a little while. It's 420 miles southeast of Key West here, and of course we're starting to see it developing over Cuba. It has winds at 30 miles per hour right now, and we're just waiting for it to get a closed circulation, which definitely looks likely. Certainly by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, it moves up the west coast of Florida through the Gulf of Mexico. 50-mile-per-hour winds are possible by 8 a.m. on Sunday, and then it crosses back into the Atlantic. And by Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., 45-mile-per-hour winds near Charleston, and then off the coast of Wilmington, 8 a.m. Wednesday at 60 miles per hour, and that takes it out as far as it's going to go for now. Some of the computer models strengthen it a good bit, and it becomes hurricane strength off our coast, but then some of the other models weaken it and bring it inland. So again, I would expect to see some changes in the intensity and the path of the system. Keep checking in regularly with us over the weekend. Of course, we'll get a lot more information from the National Hurricane Center and from our computer models as well. So we'll keep you updated over the next few days as this continues to develop. Here's a live look at North Hills, looking at mostly sunny skies. It is 92 already. We're headed to 98 this afternoon. Our dew point is 75. That is high. I mean, it is just a soupy mess out there right now. It feels like 104 in Durham and Raleigh. That's where we are right now with our heat index. Feels like 102 in Fayetteville. Already feeling like 108 in Southern Pines, 100 in Rocky Mount, 102 in South Hill. Heat advisory, of course, in effect now until around 8 p.m. Should top out at around 110, but it's possible that we'll have a few sites that are a little higher than that with the heat index this afternoon. 97 for Raleigh, 96 in Durham, 97 in Fayetteville. That's very close to what we saw yesterday, but the heat index is going to be a little higher because our dew point is higher. higher. So again, we're looking at the potential for maybe around 111 in Fayetteville, maybe 112 in Raleigh, 106 in Roxborough. So it's just going to be dangerously hot. But this may be the last day for the next week at least that we see dangerous heat. By tomorrow, 103 brings us just down below the threshold for a heat advisory. A little cooler Sunday, and we're looking at feeling like upper 90s for Monday and Tuesday, which is definitely better than 110. Over the weekend, the pattern changes significantly. We have an 80% chance of rain Saturday and a 70% chance on Sunday. Coming up in a little while, we'll talk about how much rain we'll see, but that's going to help to bring our temperatures down. It'll feel a bit cooler. For today, we have a level 1 risk for severe storms. We have a front that's back to our west. We've had some thunderstorms well ahead of it, and in Virginia, a severe thunderstorm warning right now. We'll take a look at futurecast. For us, it's likely to be mid to late afternoon. We'll start to see a few of these cells popping up. 1 or 2 of those could produce some wind damage. Might see a few isolated severe thunderstorm warnings for us this afternoon and this evening. We'll have a better chance of that on Saturday and on Sunday too, especially in our eastern counties. And then our attention by Monday will turn to what's happening in the tropics, and we'll talk more about how much rain we could see and when we could see some of the stronger winds and whether or not they'll affect us here inland coming up.